Hello, Kelly. Hola, Jenny. And Jamie. Hello, Jamie. So, as many of you know, during this meeting, you are welcome to pose whatever question or share via speaking or via the chat box. As you are participating in this meeting, as we are together in this meeting, if we can listen freshly, meaning to listen as a newborn, with a newborn mind, an openness, a listening that is discovering freshly, looking freshly, listening not in order to gather any information, not in order to get something, but to comprehend in the moment of listening. So it's a listening that is also looking. It's a looking, listening that is sort of checking at the same time as it's listening. It's looking at one's own experience. Because in our sharing, we're really not interested in accumulating information. We're interested in comprehension, in comprehending. And our interest in comprehension is about truth, about that which is real, which we call reality. It is not an interest in comprehending some theory or comprehending a particular point of view that may change in time. But it is about comprehension about reality, about that which is real. So our comprehension of reality, of truth, is therefore a real comprehension, a true comprehension. Meaning it's a comprehension, an understanding that is irrespective of circumstances, that is irrespective of conditions. It's an understanding that is not a mind state. Rather, true understanding, real understanding, the understanding that we speak of, is an understanding that permeates all minds, that permeates all mind states, that is irrespective of conditions, irrespective of situations. So we can right away, without beating around the bush, ask ourselves, what is it in our experience that is real, that is true? Meaning, what is it in our experience that does not come and go? What is it in our experience that we always find? It's always there. What is it in our experience that is independent of our experience, that is not changing as our experience changes? And what better place and time to look at this question than right now? When I look right now at my experience, in this moment, there is a spectrum of shades and colors and shadows and impressions, appearances, colors, sounds, sensations. A flow of thinking, a flow of feeling, a flow of sensation, a flow of appearances. Actually, it's not a flow. It's just this particular appearance right now, this particular perception right now. And then this, and this, and this. Every appearance, as we recollect the one that precedes it, is different from the appearance that preceded it. This perception right now, as we recollect the perception of a minute ago, is obviously different from what we recollect to be the perception of a minute ago. The sensation within our body that we perceive right now, as we recollect the perception or the sensation within our body of a minute ago, appears to be different from the sensation of a minute ago. What is it in our experience that does not change as a result of memory, that does not change as a result of perception? When you look at your perception, you find I. I perceive this perception. I hear the song of the bird. I perceive the glitter of the sunshine over the surface of the pond. I perceive the gentle flow of breath within the body. I perceive the sweet image of my mother or my loved one. So in your experience, it can be a simple understanding that the constant in your experience, that which does not come and go, which does not change with experience, which is not increased, augmented, or diminished by that which you experience, is what we refer to as I. We all refer to I as that one I. Just I perceive, I am aware. I never leaves I. I never ceases to be I, to become non-I or something else than I, some other than I. We have never known I to leave I, to go somewhere else in order to experience something else and to return. We have never known I to be located somewhere and not to be located somewhere else. As you look at your experience, you will find that I permeates your entire experience. There isn't more of I that which perceives, I that which is. There isn't more of I in one direction and less of I in another direction. In your experience, I permeates the entire experience equally. Meaning, as you're looking at this perception right now, whatever shades of blue, yellow, pink, black, white within the perceptual field, I, that which is, permeates the entire field of perception equally. It does not prefer yellow over blue or white over black or pink over purple. It does not perceive more of the pink and less of the blue because it prefers pink over blue. Your perception, your experience is permeated equally by I awareness. Indiscriminately, you do not find in your experience that I awareness perceive more blue than red or more white than black. There are no preferences within the field of awareness. It embraces everything equally. Your entire experience is known equally and indiscriminately and dispassionately. Is permeated dispassionately by I awareness. So what is it that is bothered? If the reality of your experience is I, and if the I within your experience embraces the entire experience with the same love, what is it that is bothered? It cannot be the reality of being. It cannot be the reality of awareness that is bothered. So therefore, the concerns, the worries do not belong to reality. They do not belong to the reality of I. Given they do not belong to reality, they can only belong to non-reality. There isn't a third option. This is why we say that suffering, misery, and unhappiness is a mind impression. This is why we say that unhappiness, worry, and concern are a veiling of the undisturbable, transparent, peaceful reality of I. Like the clouds may veil the sunshine, and for a moment it seems that the sun has stopped shining. In fact, the sun is shining, irrespective of the clouds. And in fact, you perceive the clouds via the sunshine. It is the sun that is shining onto the surface of the lake that gives the impression that the sun is shining in the lake, from the lake. While the sun does not shine in the lake or from the lake, the sun shines from itself, as itself. Similarly, I do not know myself via my thoughts or my feelings or my perceptions. I know myself simply by being I. I am I, the aware presence, the shining light of being that is transparent, empty, and yet contains all minds. And knows all minds, meaning I know perception, I know sensation, I know mentation. There is no mind without the knowingness of it. There is no sensation without I, no perception and no mentation without I awareness. I do not know mind because mind is real out there and I travel to it. I know mind within myself. As myself, I know perception. Within myself, as myself. I know sensation within myself, as myself. Although I know sensation as myself and perception as myself and thought as myself, I am unaffected by that which I know. I am neither augmented nor diminished. Like the ocean is not augmented or diminished by whatever arises within it, by a big wave or a small wave. What I am, I am. And that I that is the reality of experience, not defined by the content of experience, not altered by the content of experience. I, that which I am, is not trying to have a better experience, is not trying to feel happier, is not trying to feel healthier, is not trying to feel wealthier, is not trying to feel safer. How could that, which has no beginning or ending, which has no definition, which has no phenomenal quality, be concerned about the health, about being healthier or wealthier? I am the knower of all that which is known. But I do not know that which I know as impinging upon me. I do not know that which I know exterior to myself. I do not know that which I know as having an external reality out of myself, apart from myself. The knowingness that I am is not made out of memories, is not made out of experience, is not made out of thought. It is non-made up. It is non-phenomenal, and yet without the knowingness, what would be known? Without I knowingness, I awareness, what would be known? There is nothing that you know outside of I awareness. Within I, there are not two. There isn't this and that. I know this and that equally. This and that are imbued with the same knowingness, the same love, the same intimacy, the same embrace. I am the peace of being. And I, the peace of being, I am not the peace of being because there are no wars between the North and the South. I am not the peace of being because there is harmony within the family or there is harmony between the tribes. I am not the peace of being because there is harmony in the kingdom, because the rulers are benevolent rulers. I am not the peace of being because we are entering a cosmic time of expanded consciousness. I am not the peace of being because I live in a beautiful environment that is safe and cozy. I am the peace of being because I am the one and only, that which is undivided, indivisible, aware presence, the transparency of being that knows not of any opposition, that has not an experience within itself of A opposes B. I am the love because I love everything equally. I permeate everything equally. Every aspect of my experience is permeated equally by I awareness, I presence, I beingness. I, the light of being, shine equally onto everything and everyone. I recognize everything and everyone as my very self, as my very dream, like a herd of elephant within my dream. I love them all equally as I am their creator, their perceiver. They are made out of myself. I am the happiness. There is nothing outside of myself that I seek and nothing within myself that I resist and avoid. There is no lack within I awareness, I, the light of being. I do not know the sense of lack. I permeate everything equally. There is nothing outside of myself that I lack. And there is nothing too much within myself that I would like to get rid of. I do not know neither seeking nor resistance. I do not know desire, nor do I know resistance. How would I desire that which I am? How would I resist that which I am? I cannot resist I. Neither could I desire I as I am I. I shine my light equally onto everything and everyone. The comprehension of awareness, consciousness, the comprehension of it is one aspect of, let's say, one aspect of the teaching of contemplation, one leg. The other aspect is to live according to your understanding, to apply your understanding in your life. So that your understanding becomes a living understanding, a stabilized understanding, so that it permeates your being, your entire body, mind, feeling state, so that you are that knowingly, livingly, beingly. Effortlessly, lovingly, joyfully, peacefully. Well, thank you for this invitation. We will take the rest of our time available to us to look at whatever questions, comments, sharing you would like to share together and look at together here. So I welcome. You may have to check your. Oh yes, Lina.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Hello, Lina.
Hi. This is just such a wonderful time to absorb that, because we don't have anything else that is impeding in on us.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm almost ashamed to say I'm really enjoying it. I like the isolation.
Yeah.
I call it hibernating. And Jack and I get out. We take walks in the morning through the woods.
It's a good weather hibernation.
Yes, it is a good weather hibernation. But usually there's so much. I've got to say, I have a lot of things piled up that I'm not doing, and I'm not giving myself a hard time for not doing them, because this seems to be more important than the things, the stuff. And
we also have a lot of time to get to those things that we need to do.
Exactly. So I'm very grateful for it. I know that there's a lot of suffering for people, and that hurts. But it is, for me personally, it is a time for observing and for allowing awareness to be in charge and to sink down into that feeling of space.
Yes.
Where there's nothing else that's more important.
That's a very good usage of this opportunity. Of course, we also, as you said, we feel the sorrow and the empathy and the compassion for
it's so hard for so many people.
Yes. But yes, it is a good way to use this time to explore being with a much reduced level of activity in work and the world. What it's like, how are we with that? How do we meet that? How do we meet this tendency to fill the space, to fill the mind with activity, with things to do. How are we with that? Is it possible to be there, present, sensing it all, being transparent to the entire dynamic, internally, externally?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yes.
We will see.
It's a moment by moment
Mm-hmm.
presence, moment by moment
Mm-hmm.
interest in presence, and noticing that which is transparent, which is already in the reality of our experience, which is not an activity, the presence of awareness, simply to the noticing of that is already so. It's already so.
Mm.
Yes. And also when emotions arise, images arise, maybe, or we hear something on the television or on the radio or on the internet, and it triggers right and wrong, it triggers emotions, it triggers maybe fear or sense of rightfulness. To see that that those emotions, those sort of reactions, they don't come from our true nature. They don't come from the understanding of what we are, but they come from the old model of me in the world, me and you, me and them. Why are they doing this? Blaming, thinking that, oh, I know better. That this sort of approach does not come from the understanding of our true nature, from the understanding of that which is real.
That's the mind, isn't it?
Yeah, one could say it is the mind. Yeah, it is thinking. It is the process of thinking. But more than the mind, it comes from the sense of being a personal. That consciousness is this personal point of view. That it comes from the sense that there is something that I need to defend, I need to protect, I need to aggrandize. While in fact our true nature has no interest in defending anything or aggrandizing myself, or it has no such interest. So it comes from that impression that there is something to defend, something to protect, something to aggrandize, which means that there is something at stake. And then one wonders for whom. And when we look at that, we find that it's a mental projection, images of myself, at that moment where the clouds are veiling our true nature, the sense that of being somebody is clouding the
Our true self.
the everythingness of our true nature. Yes. But to see that, see that it's all a play of consciousness. It's all a divine play. But what's available to us is this understanding to understand. There is an understanding of the process, and also then living according to our understanding. Living according to our understanding would be noticing the tendency to want to go further down in that direction, and realizing that there is an option which comes from our understanding, which is that consciousness neither comes nor goes, is not pursuing anything, is not trying to maintain anything. And in that moment of understanding, we do not proceed with the impression that yes, oh yeah, we need to pursue this line of thinking, we need to pursue this line of action, we realize that that is non-essential. It's not an essential path, because there are essential paths. For example, when you have something cooking on the stove and you forget it and you have to run to, it's essential that you watch over certain. But noticing the activities of mind and body that are not inspired by our understanding, that the understanding of our transparent true nature, of our borderless true nature. And so we live our understanding, we apply our understanding in small ways, in whichever ways are present themselves to us. And there is a significance in wearing those boots, you know, like that you just bought and you wear them. They need to be broken in. They don't right away, you know. You have you walk a few miles in them.
Mm-hmm. Blessing.
Blessing to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Magdi?
Hello, Zoe.
Hi. So, yeah, I agree with Lina. I'm liking this global retreat. Yeah, it's really amazing, and as you said, also the compassion. Let's see. So when you were talking about I awareness has no preferences, and I've just been contemplating. Okay, so could you talk about preferences? So that's only body mind conditioning that preferences come from?
There are, let's say, preferences that are body mind preferences, and there are preferences that are egoic. Body mind preferences are innocent in the way that some tendencies are within the body to be very active and like activities and companionship, and some are lesser so. Some body mind tendencies are more insightful and more introvert, and they more drawn towards inner poetry and inner creativity. Others are builders, you know, they like to be more active in the world and putting things together. There are body-mind tendencies. People enjoy different things, you know. Some are drawn towards some form of art. Others are drawn in different ways. One could say that these are preferences. They're some of which may be a result of our upbringing, our conditioning, our culture, our experiences, past experiences, and some may be just part of the DNA makeup of this particular body mind. It doesn't matter really. We don't need to really understand that. I mean, why are people more drawn towards sweet tasting food and others. And also our preferences change, sometimes we notice throughout the day or throughout the month or the years, our preferences change. They're at the body-mind level. Now, there are preferences that are at the egoic preferences. The preferences at the body-mind level, they do not relate to our happiness. They simply relate to, let's say, our comfort and at our enjoyment. They do not relate to our happiness. Preferences that are egoic, they relate to our happiness. So I prefer to have a house on the hill, or to have a house in California, or have a because my happiness depends on it. There is a conditionality. It's a preference that is connected to our happiness. And we all prefer that in our work, for example, that things are smooth and successful. And so we do the best we can for things to be smooth and successful, harmonious for everybody. Now, when things don't go in our direction, and we are upset and we're going to all these emotions, we're blaming our boss or our partner or God or whatever, there would be an egoic preference, our preference to have a harmonious work relationship has an egoic aspect to it. Now, this does not mean that preferring harmony at work is egoic. I prefer that relationships at work are harmonious with everybody, with the partners, with the bosses, with the employees. But things sometimes are harmonious, sometimes are not. Sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. But it's all okay, it's all good. When your preferences do not have an impact upon your happiness, they are non-egoic. Now, that is sort of a little bit cut and dry what I'm sharing with you, because in our life, we can notice our egoic tendencies. We can notice that we are getting very scared and scary, and we can notice that we are starting to engage into blaming. Maybe because our work is not going in a certain way, we're starting to blame our partner or whatever. And so there is the potential, the possibility, because of the transparency of consciousness, the transparency of I, to see that, to notice the unhappiness, and to take a different route, rather than criticizing our partner, to remain with how it feels, remain with the disappointment, the sense of failure, or whatever is going on. And this remaining is sort of being in presence with our experience. When we are in presence with our experience, we are not trying to manipulate our experience. We're not trying to make ourselves feel better. We're not trying to improve our psychological state. We're not being judgmental of ourselves or of others. We're just simply as presence, irrespective of the emotional state of the body-mind. And so there is that option. Of course, sometimes we don't take that option. We get very judgmental of our inner experience, or we get very judgmental of another. And that's okay too. That can happen as well. It does happen to all of us. And at some time or the other, we see through it. Of course, to be contemplating the reality of our experience, like we do here in satsang, in those meetings, is a very good reminder for us to, of the reality of our experience. And it is helpful. It helps us to sort of the self or presence turning its attention to itself, sort of noticing that, yes, I can perceive, I can experience the content of my experience. And the I that is experiencing that is infinite possibilities, infinite potential. Nothing actually happens at the level of awareness, of consciousness. That can become more and more your living experience, rather than a conceptual, a nice conceptual understanding. You can actually test it and see that yes, you can experience good weather, bad weather, and you remain as you are in this very moment. If you contemplate the reality of your experience, what you truly are, that which perceives it, is I awareness. And this awareness is not, has no color, has no shape. It's not better or worse as a result of this meeting or as a result of this perception. It is as it is, absolute, irrefutable, never comes and goes, and it recognizes itself, it knows itself. And it's possible to invite this recognition in your life, so that your life, throughout your life, without judgment, it's not a goal, has that recognition, the self recognizes itself within experience, at the heart of experience. It does not leave its recognition. And it's not an attainment or an achievement. It's more of the dawning of understanding. The dawn, as the dawn rises, of the understanding. Zoe, did I leave your question? I have a tendency to sometimes do that.
That was wonderful. I've got another question.
Okay.
So when we believe we're this individual body, mind, then it's sort of almost like the mind is really, it has all these borders to it. But as we sink back into our true nature, I think you've mentioned something about this before, but our mind really doesn't have those borders. Do
Yes.
we become, like, I mean, there's all these little stories of people being able to read somebody's mind across the world, all that kind of stuff. But so that doesn't necessarily happen still, but does some sort of more expansion take place?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Try to imagine that within the wide open sky, there is a wind that arises, and the wind forms a tornado. A tornado. It's spinning around a core which is empty, and it's spinning within the empty space of. So in ignorance, let's say, in the personal self-impression, the personal self-impression is like a local wind event. Of course,
that's a good metaphor.
you could say that the wind is made out of ether, whatever, and that the entire space is ether. And out of the space, out of the spaciousness of awareness, there is a localized event which is made out of the spaciousness itself. It's arising out of the spaciousness, and it's actually known by the vastness. It is the personal mind is a diffraction, let's say, a diffraction of the one mind. So like the white light diffracts into the prism, then the yellow color, that particular shade of yellow, and there are infinite shades of yellow, is a diffraction, is a particular vibrational arrangement of that white light, of the white light. So the personal mind is a precipitation of the infinite mind of consciousness into a local impression. And from within that local impression, the experience is that of localization, and limitation and specification. But from the point of view of the vastness, nothing is happening. It knows itself as everything. It does not perceive its dreams as an external reality. Like the mother, when she's pregnant, does not experience an external reality within herself. The mind maybe may say, oh yes, there is a baby, blah, 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 but I'm talking from at the experiential level, it is intimate with the mother's body. Now, upon the understanding of the reality of, and the transparency and the universality and of awareness, of consciousness, and the impersonality of consciousness, the reality and the impersonality of consciousness, upon that understanding, the local aspect of your experience is no longer your experience. And yes, you do have available to you certain insights that were not available to you as a localized manifestation. You have insights into other people's thinking, other people's feelings, locally and non-locally. But it does not seem that that is a big deal for consciousness. Consciousness does not seem to make a big deal out of it, because if it did, then all the sages would be conducting miracles, although it has happened in some cases. From what I haven't really studied it, that's not really what consciousness seem to be, the direction which it goes. It seems more to reveal across minds the peace, the causeless peace. So rather than perceiving other people's minds, their thoughts, which you do have an inkling to as consciousness, instead, it seems that consciousness has more of a preference of imparting or emanating the peace across minds.
Thank you. That's so helpful. Yeah, that's what I was contemplating, that this localization is made out of I awareness. And so when it dissolves back into I awareness, I mean, it's always, I awareness has never changed. So thank you. Yeah, that really
Yeah,
helps.
it may be helpful for you alongside this understanding to notice that in your very personal realm of experience, it is I awareness that is. I is awareness. I experience and perceive the limited field of experience that we refer to as Zoe, the particular personal Zoe's thoughts, that they do not appear to Zoe, they appear to I.
Mm.
And before we call the body Zoe, I is nameless, it's just I. And to recognize the I in your experience, in always this moment, a fresh moment, that I is nameless, genderless, and irrefutable.
Thank you, Magdi.
Okay, Zoe. I just want to take opportunity to mention to you, because Shiva, hello Shiva. So Shiva, who is attending this meeting, starting April 1st. Hello Shiva. Just want to mention hello. That starting April 1st, Shiva is having a free online deep relaxation Zoom meeting. It's called Deep Relaxation in Trouble Time Zoom meeting. It is Wednesday, so this coming Wednesday at 9 a.m. Hawaii. Shiva is in Hawaii, enjoying a very beautiful house. I saw the pictures of that home. So that would be 3 p.m. Eastern time and 8 p.m. Central European time zones. And the sessions last 40 minutes. It's not interactive, meaning you will not be asking questions. It includes relaxation techniques such as yoga, nidra, and contemplation. I invite you to prepare, that's Shiva speaking, I invite you to prepare a comfortable space and clothing for yourself, lying or sitting, and to connect. Relax and experience the peace that you are. Now you can private message Shiva. Shiva is on Facebook, or you can PM me, or if you want to contact Shiva, and you can always email me if you want to be on the list for this event. And I have been working with Shiva on many occasions, and I highly recommend the work that Shiva does. It's very, very, it's really just what you want to do, just what you need, just what the doctor prescribes.
Thank you, doctor. I wanted to say, can you hear me, Magdi?
Yes,
can you hear me?
I hear you. Yes.
Beautiful. I'm in the process of trying to set up an invitation link through Zoom where people can then just connect and click on the link. But
Yes.
for the time being, it's probably the best to just email me if you want to be on this. It's just the first time, because once I have your email address, then I will just every week send out invitations just like Magdi does, basically. That's sort of the idea, at least. Bear with me technically because I'm just setting this up for the first time. But my email address is very simple. It's wolfgangyoga@gmail.com for all of those that you don't need to bother Magdi sending him emails. Just send me an email directly. It's wolfgangyoga@gmail.com in one word. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Bye.
I also wrote it down. So Wolfgang Yoga, I wrote it down in the chat box so people can also look it up.
I'll check
Oh,
it. Thank you, Magdi.
Okay, okay, Shiva. Let me see. Everyone publicly. Okay, everyone publicly. Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
that's it, Rin. Yes. Let me see. Did I do that correctly? Okay. Yes. Okay. Well. So it's good.
Everyone.
Yes. So Ananda, you wrote a question. I'm going to read it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's let me see. Let me mute here. You write existential angst. Oh, Ananda, I muted you, but you will unmute yourself whenever you want to talk. Just in a minute for the background sound. You write existential angst is the feeling that I am in danger, the fear that I may disappear. But as you mentioned, I am never absent. I is never absent. I is. Yes, I is isness. There is no such thing as absence to presence. Yes, so you're right. I have never been absent. I wonder about the certainty that I will never be absent. Okay. I've been sure of this for a long time, but as I look at the nature of experience itself, this forever I shall be is not exactly a present experience, or is it? Okay, it's a good question, Ananda. So you are wondering about the certainty that I will never be absent. No. So when we say I, we are referring to I awareness consciousness.
Yes.
I reality. Reality meaning that which does not come and go. We know that consciousness is real, meaning that there is something rather than nothing. That this experience, although the content of the experience may be a dream, it is something rather than nothing. And this something rather than nothing is what we call consciousness.
Right.
So there is a reality. When we speak about consciousness, we're talking about reality. Now, we cannot prove that reality is eternal, that it shall never be absent. We cannot prove it because there is no experiment that can be conducted that can prove that.
It's the mystical realm.
Yes, it is the mystical realm, but at the same time, it is not that we don't have anything available to us. What we have available to us to look at this question is the reality of I. I is, I know myself as this reality. Sorry, one moment, Ananda. I want to make sure. Okay. So I think Shiva, maybe later after, I will send you a couple of emails concerning some of the messages in the chat box in case you're not getting them. So coming back, Ananda, to
okay.
So what we have available to us is the certainty of I.
Yes.
We're not talking yet about the certainty of I never being absent, but we
Hmm.
the certainty of I. And so there is no doubt about that. What we call I, meaning there is something rather than nothing, which we
Yeah, right.
Now, we also know from our experience that I is not an event that occurs in time.
Right.
Meaning, I is not contained in thought. What is contained in thought is breakfast this morning. We have an image of, whatever, cereal, granola, and blueberries. So that is contained in thought. It's an image.
Mhm.
And so that's impression of time. The granola, the image is contained in time.
Right.
I was having breakfast in the kitchen, or I was having breakfast with Tara in the dining room, is occurring in thought, inside thought, meaning in time. But I
Mhm.
does not occur, is inside of thought. It's not an image. It's not a
Right. Good
So
point.
therefore, we do not, according to our experience, we have never experienced, or we are not experiencing I in time. Yes?
Right. That's true.
So it's bringing us to your question, which was about will consciousness. What was it? How do I scroll up? I don't know how to. Let me see.
Well, we talk about direct experience. That consciousness is the only experiencer. It's not an experience. Yeah.
Yes. So right. So I is not an experience. It is not a thought. It is not a feeling. It is not a sensation. It is not. An object that we perceive. It's not a perception or a sensation or an experience. So it is not in time. What we're talking about is the reality, the I that is not contained within any experience. Experience appears within I.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a thought appears to I. A perception appears within I. But I do not appear within a perception or within a sensation. So given that, given that according to our experience, I does not appear in time, so it being the question about it being never absent, meaning will it be there tomorrow or will it be there in 1,000 years, is not a question that is consonant with our experience of I.
Right. It refers back to the coming and going realm.
Yes.
Mind.
Yes. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. That is available to us. You see, that we can come to that understanding.
Right.
And in a way, it answers our question for now. Yes, it answers our question for now.
Yeah, no, that was a great answer. That was it's just like a little conundrum of the mind.
Yes. From the perspective of thought, I consciousness is a concept within thought. It's something that is a thought event.
From the mind.
From the perspective, yes.
Gotcha.
Of thinking.
Or it could be the philosophical position.
I'm sorry.
That could be the philosophical position of tons of people.
Yes.
Without being free. Anyway.
Right, exactly. So this is why in our contemplation, it's not philosophical. It is direct understanding, direct experiential understanding coming from a direct looking at our experience. Okay, Nanda?
Sorry, I said you were right in the middle. You were still going, and I kind of jumped on. No, it's okay.
Nowhere
else to go. Okay,
it's fine.
Well, thanks very much. Okay.
Nice to see you as usual. Happy to see you. And you know, that thought may arise again, you see. It may arise again, well, what about, it may arise in a different form. In different form, it may. So it's important to sort of get it that you got it.
I see what you're saying, because the whole nature of experience, because this is kind of the follow-up to that, what we're saying is the whole nature of experience is like, okay, so here I am, here I am sitting at home, whatever. What would I, and it makes me think of Zoe's question too. What was my preference for my experiential?
But no, that's not the realm of your experience. The realm of your experience is not that here you are sitting at home. Home, your home, what you say home, image, this perception is appearing to you.
Yes, yes.
You are not in the home.
Right.
So that's it. From thinking point of view, from the point of view that I am this body. Yes, the body is in the living room,
right?
That we call Ananda or Magdi or whatever. But the room appears to I.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And this really, really taking note of that, so to speak,
yeah,
is possibly exactly what you're referring to. Get it so.
Yes.
Be aware that you know this.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. I
yes.
like that.
Sometimes. Yeah, we get it, but somehow we still waver about having gotten it. You get it. You need to get it that you got it. Yes.
I had an experience this morning. My sweetheart. You've known a few of my sweethearts over the time, but anyways, I have a wonderful sweetheart. One thing she does is she loves to cook, and she cooks a big pot of something.
Yes.
And there's no room, and then leave me to put it. What am I going to do with it now?
Yes.
And the freezer is stuffed.
Oh yes.
And I actually had a sense of almost like a panic, like, oh my God, and things aren't even frozen hard in there because it's no air circulating. So I had a moment of feeling the feeling of distress that comes along with mind, jumping to something, jumping to some.
Yes, but it's not a big.
Not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal because we are not trying to be anybody. We're not trying.
To be a special.
We're not
cool dude.
We're not trying to be anything. So it's not a big deal. We can experience that, right? I mean, obviously you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a big deal.
Oh, that's
not to. We're not trying to seek a particular experience or to be some particular somebody, because that doesn't relate. That does not pertain to consciousness. Does not pertain to our true nature. Our true nature can experience this, what you call, let's call it distress or whatever you call it, doesn't matter. Can experience that remaining as it is. It's not concerned about that. It does not become tainted or lessened or diminished by that. You see, and that's what you are. You are the I. You are that. You are true nature. You are the reality, the transparency of being. You are the reality of consciousness. You see.
Otherwise, I would be tempted to go to a spiritual bypass, which would be the same truth but not known. It would be the same truth but in the mind.
Right. It's just to try to, put the lipstick on it.
No, one more, because this leads to another thing, if you have another moment.
Yes.
And that is, I sometimes think about my friendships. Like I have some wonderful friendships, a men's group that I host for one thing, and hikers that I go with on another,
Yes.
that don't quite get what we're talking about. And I don't think if they sat here and watched, they would necessarily, they might just get bored, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because it hasn't quite occurred that this thing about what the very thing you're talking about, the
Yes.
I
Yes.
and
Yes.
the complete separation of reality from this. And yet I go for a hike and have conversation and all this. There are two things. One is I'm a little concerned that this thing comes up, a kind of a concern of almost of being brought down into that level. It's like it's nice to be around people who
Yes.
understand. It's kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other is well, that's probably the main issue actually. That I have in mind.
Okay. Yes. Yes. I know that is good.
And I don't feel like teaching people or trying to, it's like,
No, I mean,
come up and look at it from here, and be my company.
no, you are getting together with people, assuming because you're enjoying it. You're enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
You're enjoying the hiking. You're enjoying the conversation with your friends, and you're not just trying to improve them or improve yourself. You just enjoy.
Right.
You're celebrating life, and so. It's beautiful. I mean, that's perfect. This is. I mean, a lot of people would be envying that you have all these activities that you enjoy. Anyways, so that's beautiful. Now, in terms of being brought down, what is it that gets brought down?
It has occurred to me to compare it to pets. You're with your kitty or your dog, and you're really enjoying playing and running and everything, but you don't necessarily expect the same understanding.
But you're enjoying your pet. I mean,
yeah,
the pet gives you.
No, I know. I mean, what I mean is there's no conceptual problem there.
Right,
like,
hey, right, correct.
You ought to understand. You ought to improve your English so we can talk about this.
Yeah. So what you are cannot be brought down. What you are cannot be brought down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in fact, from the personal me aspect, it can be sometimes challenging to be with people that are different from us, because from the personal perspective, we feel that we need to be, especially in the example you're giving, that we need to be with spiritual people. We need to be with spiritual people. And here you are, life is presenting you an opportunity, a situation, let's say situation, where you are enjoying hiking with friends. You enjoy hiking with them, and they're not spiritual. So,
well, they are, but they're not in my exact thing.
I'm just
go ahead. Okay, go.
I'm speaking metaphorically.
Go for it.
Yes, and so here you are with this experience, this situation where you would like to be with more spiritual people, but yet they're not as spiritual as you like them to be, but you enjoy hiking with them. So how could you live this situation from the perspective of your understanding? Now, from the perspective of my understanding, I consciousness, I am love. I is not judgmental. I is not comparative. I is not measuring. I is equally the light of consciousness shines equally onto all its dreams. Equally. Here is an opportunity for you to be living this internal tendencies that's within you, as saying, gee, they're not that spiritual, and spinning something within you, and at the same time you have your understanding. So this is a good example of to living your understanding. It's one thing to have arrived at your understanding, the understanding of I awareness, I presence, I the love the truth, the peace of being, and then opportunities to live it. So take advantage of these opportunities to be in this situation with the whole dynamics of it.
Yeah, like be with the sun.
Okay.
Thanks. That's just beautiful. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll probably listen to this
Ananda,
one again.
Ananda, can you hear me? Take some of that extra food to your neighbors. I would love it if somebody knocked on my door and said, "I've got a bowl of soup if you'd like it. Just remember the 6-foot rule."
One of the issues is that Marie cooks for the homeless, and so he takes my little kitchen and then makes a big delivery, and then there's still too much, you know. But anyway, thank you. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah. Hi,
Hello.
Maggie.
Hello.
This goes with what's his name? He was just up there.
Ananda?
Michael? The guy who just asked the question.
Yes, Michael, yes.
Michael.
Yes.
He's not, I can't see him anymore.
Okay, okay.
So I have
you know, he was waving, he was back, he was
hi
there.
I think sometimes when I'm with people that I'm not able to share my understanding, I feel frustrated. But I think what really lies under that is I'm afraid that I'll forget who I am by spending time enjoying. Does that make sense? Do you want me to repeat that?
No, I think let me see if I heard it correctly. You said that sometimes you hesitate to share your understanding with people because you're afraid that you will forget your understanding, that you forget.
No.
Okay.
I don't feel like there are a lot of people in my circle.
Yes.
Day-to-day circle that have any idea what we're talking about here.
Yes.
And my frustration or fear of not having that kind of community
yes,
is that I'll forget who I am.
Yes, I understand. Right, I understand. Well, you do have. I mean, right now, especially right now, there is an online community of friends. I mean, we meet a few times a week, and we've been meeting together for quite a while. And there are, so yes, I understand what you are saying, and it is my experience that it's helpful to maintain, to keep fueling, let's say, your interest in truth. But but I'm not talking about improving yourself. I'm talking about keep turning your gaze towards God, towards truth, towards consciousness, towards the reality of being. And we can do that in many ways, just simply by asking ourselves, am I aware? Am I present? What is presence? Just by turning our attention to what is it that perceives? What is the reality? What is it that is real in my experience right now? Or am I aware? To whom or to what is this experience appearing to right now? What permeates? What is it that permeates my entire experience? What is the substance or reality of my experience right now? To sort of allow this question to to take you where it wants to take you, to permeate your entire being. And that is available to you anytime it's available to you. When I say I, what is I? I am. Yes, what is? Just to be with I am. Not a question that leads you into thinking, but just a question that awakens in you the love, awakens in you God's echo within you, God's voice within you, God's presence within you as you. And yes, sometimes, I mean, especially now it's very difficult to get together with anybody. So in a way, that's one way in which we come together, we contemplate our experience together, we share, we explore together. It's beautiful, very beautiful, and very precious, and very intimate. Here we are, very intimate, sort of so close, closer than close, really. So it's very beautiful that is available to us, and it's great deep gratitude for that. And in terms of like others, I like to think that our contemplation is on behalf of everybody. It's not just my contemplation. Somehow through this body mind, God's voice is coming through this body mind. But God's voice is not for my person. It's for everybody. God's murmur. So when I say yes, yes, I love you. Yes, I do. I do want to know you. I am saying that holding everybody's hand, or hold everybody's hand in that yes, in saying yes. And what the piece that is revealed to us, which is a piece of our true nature, is like a river that flows through the fields, and it irrigates all the fields. It irrigates all the fields. And it's like the aquifer, aquifer that everybody taps into the aquifer to maintain themselves. So it's love is universal, is total, is and I is love. I is this borderless presence, is intimate, is permeates everything equally, which is love. So yeah, it's available to us, and here we are as one. And once the heart is touched, it's like you can light a fire with a candle, you see, with one candle. When that candle lights the fire is on, you see. And sometimes we get concerned that maybe by interacting with others, our understanding will get diminished.
Yes.
And so there is intelligence to that. There are some some engagements where we somehow get a sense within ourselves, something within ourselves says, no, I don't think that I want to do that. I don't think that I want to go to a party and everybody's drinking. I don't think that that doesn't resonate for me. So there is a voice within us that also is guiding us. At the same time, it's important to recognize God's light within everybody. That what everybody loves is love itself, and maybe they're seeking it out there in the world, in experiences, in money, in fortune, in power, whatever. But it's part of that path for now. You see, it's not. In the end, we're all driven by the same love. You see, and maybe the direction, we're still looking for the right direction, but we're all fueled by the same love. And so it's important to recognize that, so that our tendency to perceive ourselves apart from everybody else, or to perceive ourselves as special, or to perceive others as lesser, we're different places along the journey, you see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And whoever is placed along our journey, in a way, it's not an accident, you see. Even if whoever is placed along our journey is eventually going to lead us to the conclusion that, hey, no, I don't think that I don't want this relationship. That is also part of our journey. It's a part of our path. So we approach our experience recognizing that it is that one consciousness that is sort of shining as that, appearing as that. And she's quite different from approaching it from that distance that basically is looking at, well, is it good for me or not good for me? See? Because the me is not the eye of presence, the eye of awareness. Me could be just that tendency to look at the surface and see if there is something that can aggrandize me, it has to do with personal happiness, which is not what awareness is interested in. At the same time, of course, there is, as I said, there is intelligence. You know, in our life, there are times where we say no. You know, that's not the direction that I want to follow. Anyways, I went maybe way off the track with your question, Kelly, but it's very lovely to be together.
Yeah, it was very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, Kelly. Well, okay, this is a good time to say thank you all. Very lovely to be with you all. So thank you, Lina. Good to see you, and Kate, and Trish.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
Maria, John, Ananda,
Namaste.
Esther, George, Fernando. Hello, Fernando, Emmanuel, Zoe, Jamie.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.
Rashmi, hello all, and thank you all.
Thank you, Magdi.
Enjoy.
Hey, everybody.
Bye, Lina.